Warning, some of what you are about to witness was filmed on this potato. Hey folks, today we're doing a bit of light green laning in the Suzuki Jimny. We're over near Marple in Cheshire, just on the Stockport border. We're going to head down some easy green lanes. I grew up in a village called Marple Bridge, so named because it's near the town of Marple and it has a bridge. This was where I got my first car, which was a 1984 Ford Capri. At the time, a friend of mine had an ex-military Land Rover Lightweight, and he took me down some green lanes before I even knew what green lanes were. It's been more than 25 years, so I thought it was about time I revisited the area to see what had changed. Before we get started though, we need to talk about this potato. I did film some footage while I was out and about, but unfortunately I didn't realise that if you use the wide angle lens on my camera phone, it sets the phone into potato mode, so some of it is not high quality. Sorry about that. I'll try harder next time.
They are clearly a most primitive people.
Yeah. I should point out that there is no extreme off-roading in this video. There are no scenes of peril, danger or destruction. Nobody gets stuck. There are no winches, and nobody has to use waffle boards or snorkels or any of the other ridiculous things that they attach to their four-wheel drive vehicles. Just to give you an idea of the level of green laning to expect, I didn't even bring my flask. You join me on the drive down Smithy Lane, about to start the first green lane of the day. Clearly this is not the most extreme off-roading that you've ever seen, but it was extreme enough to make my camera fall over, and therefore I had to come up with an alternative mounting solution, so sorry for the break in filming. At least I've provided some valuable information about what to expect at the beginning of this green lane. We're a bit further on now, but don't worry, you haven't missed anything. I've sped the footage up a bit because otherwise we'll be here all day, but it gives you some idea of what the green lane is like if you're thinking of driving down it yourself. It's a little bit scratchy, but nothing too bad. Bear in mind though I am in a Jimny, so it's a bit narrower than some other vehicles. That's it for the extreme stuff on this one. The rest of the lane continues pretty flat and even like this, so I'll cut and then I can show you where we come out at the end of the lane, ready to rejoin the main road. I say main road for around here. Time for some artistic B-roll footage filmed on the potato cam. I don't think it's that bad, to be honest. I was worrying for nothing. I've seen worse. At least it helps to break up the monotony. I mean the excitement. Our next green lane of the day is Old Hall Lane. It's not one with a challenging surface or any kind of extreme experience, but it does allow you to cut through and get to the next lane, which we're more interested in. Look left at the bottom of Old Hall Lane and you will see our next green lane of the day, which leads from the Roman Lakes up towards Linniclough Scout Camp. Unfortunately, the Roman Lakes have nothing to do with the Romans. Samuel Oldknow built Mellor Mill in the 1790s, and it was once the largest water mill in Europe. However, it burnt down in the 1890s and nothing remains of it today other than the mill ponds, which are now known as the Roman Lakes for God knows what reason. What you're looking at here is the back of Bottoms Hall, which is another one of Samuel Oldknow's buildings. To be honest, the front of it is much nicer, but I couldn't be bothered going around there because this is a green laning video and not Time Team. Anyhow, let's crack on before it gets dark, so I've sped the footage up again. You get the general idea about this lane, it's not too bad. There's a couple of rocky bits at the top, but nothing at all that would worry anyone in even a vaguely competent 4x4. Even at 300% speed this takes a while, doesn't it? You could use the time to like and subscribe, I suppose, if you weren't doing anything else. You may have noticed a few holly bushes as we've been driving up this lane, and in the local area there are a number of roads that are called Hollins Lane. Hollin is an old word for holly, and a hollins is a collection of holly trees. These used to provide important winter fodder for animals because farmers realised that they don't grow the thorny spikes above about head height, so you can collect the foliage from above there and feed it to your animals through the winter. And that's why we have quite a few places that are named Hollins Lane, Hollins Hall, that kind of thing. You may have heard of the town of Holmfirth in Yorkshire, where they filmed the TV series Last of the Summer Wine. And a firm that was based there called Bamforth & Co. was actually one of the early pioneers during filmmaking. It's possible that they even invented the process of film editing. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because Holmfirth is made up of two ancient words. Home is based on holly and firth is frith for wood. So basically the name Holmfirth means Hollywood. That's an incredible coincidence because Hollywood is exactly where I'll be ending up if I continue to produce B-roll footage of this quality. There is a byway open to all traffic between Mellor Golf Course and Lilybank Farm, but as you can see from the picture, it's far too small for any 4x4 vehicles to get through this bottom end of it, so don't bother trying. As these chaps are proving, it's perfectly fine on two wheels though. It's almost time for the final two green lanes of the day, but before we move on to those, I thought I'd show you the vehicle that we've used for this adventure, the Suzuki Jimny 1.3. It's not lifted because it already handles enough like a clown car as it is. It's just sitting on General Grabber 82 all-terrain tyres, which are perfectly adequate for the kind of thing we get up to. Next up then, Primrose Lane and Black Lane. This is where Primrose Lane becomes a bridleway and you can't continue any further down this track. But you can, however, turn right onto Black Lane and carry on one continuous path, so that's what we'll do. Why the long face, mate? What do you mean I look like Linda McCartney? I've slowed the footage back down now because there's a couple of rock steps here you might want to take a look at, just in case you're planning your own green laning trip and you want to see what kind of terrain you can expect. As you get to the bottom of this lane, you might be concentrating on where you're going, but if you have chance safely to look to your left, you will see the famous landmark Mellor Cross, and if you park up, you're able to climb the path and take a closer look if you like. Our final lane of the day starts with a classic unsuitable for motor vehicles sign at the end of Apple Tree Road near New Mills Golf Course. It's quite a tight lane at times and there's a few rock steps down near towards the end, so I wouldn't recommend going down here in anything too shiny. I've slowed the footage back down for you so you can take a look at the rock steps I mentioned earlier, and they might be helpful if you're planning on coming down here yourself, so you can take a look and see what you think before you get this far down. Also, you can see on the right hand side here, this holly bush at the time of filming was encroaching quite far into the lane and will scratch your paintwork. Why not bring some clippers and take it home as winter fodder for your livestock? And there you have it, that's the end of today's green laning adventure. Exciting, wasn't it? And once I'd waited for these two horse riders to decide which direction they were going in, all that remained for me to do was to hit the M62 and head for home. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, then let me know in the comments, and please consider liking, subscribing and joining me for the next exciting adventure. Bye for now.